Ghee roast, but not the ones which you're thinking of, because today I'm going to be making a duck ghee roast. I'm using beautiful ducks here. Okay, I'm using the duck legs. Now there is a little process which I like to do with the duck, and it makes it very nice and tender. Okay, it's like brining the duck, which means that now I've got about 520 grams of duck legs. Okay, you can use the same thing with chicken. Now in this, what I did was I added about 750 milliliters of water, and to which I've added about a teaspoon of salt. Okay, and let it soak in the brine overnight. Now what happens in the brine is that the protein gets really tender and it cooks really well. Now that's the only different thing I like to do. Now the other ways, sometimes what I do, especially with chicken, is I make the masala, the ghee roast masala, which is the next thing which I'm going to do, the most sensational thing. And I actually marinate the entire bird, the entire chicken, or sometimes if I'm using even mushrooms, I like to make the ghee roast masala, and I marinate it with the ghee roast masala and simply just plonk it into a pot and let it cook in those beautiful juices. But today I'm taking a different route because all the recipes which you actually see on YouTube are almost the same. Now, of course, me being a chef and looking at it from a chef point of view, if we had to do it in a restaurant style, and that is why I'm attempting to do duck. Now, first things first is to make the ghee roast masala. Now, for the ghee roast masala, it's a really nice process. I'm going to be using the mixer today. I don't have that bandwidth to do it on a masala grinder, but you know, get adventurous if you want to. Now, for the masala, I have with me these fantastic Guntur Chilis, about 50 grams. Look at them. They are beautiful and they are spicy. Now, with that, I'm going to be first roasting my chilies first. A lot of the recipes call for soaking the chilies. You can also do that. But you know, I'm just saying that the roasting part is really, really good into it. And all along with that, I have these lovely spices. Okay, I've got coriander seeds, about 20 grams of coriander seeds. I've got about 10 grams of black peppercorns. I've got about 3 to 4 grams of methi. About 10 grams, I would say, of saunf, yani ke fennel. And I've got almost the same amount of jeera. Okay, so if you go to see, the coriander is slightly a little more than the rest of them. Okay, so we're going to give this a nice roast beautifully. Now remember, ghee roast, take a wild guess, ghee roast, ghee mein hi banta hai. So I've got this lovely about almost like 250 grams of beautiful A2 ghee which I got from a dear friend who's actually dealing with them. If you need any good leads to where you can buy really good ingredients, no problem. Just put it in the comments below. Write to me on Instagram, Vicky the Chef. You can even write to me on this page here, and definitely I'd love to answer your questions. Okay, so I've got these chilies which are slightly being roasted. Okay, now you can see they start turning a little more. They start plumping up a little bit, and you can see they're getting into a really nice, lovely reddish color. You know already. And if you go, agar aap notice karoge, you've seen that the ghee roast, that color is like, it's like something else. Okay, so usko aur halka sa aur roast kar denge. Now when you're roasting chilies, be careful, okay, not to go over with them, because you know you just want that slightly roasted flavor. You know, they've been harvested a long time, they've been dried. Now you know what, usko wapas jaan mein leke aana, you want to get them alive one more time. So that's the reason why we are just, now you can see iska color bhi thoda roast ho raha hai. There's some air getting into it. They're starting plumping up right now. So I'm just going to be getting my mixer ready as well. Okay. So very simple. Now these are going to be toasted next. So yeah, I think we are pretty good now. Yeah, got a very nice color. Amazing. So drop these off here. Now in the same pan, I'm going to put my other spices here, which I mentioned already to you. All go in together. Coriander thoda zyada hai isme. Now, there are some recipes, like somebody told me that you have to put yogurt in it. Now, yes, I will be putting yogurt in this, but what I'm going to be doing, rather than trying to marinate my duck in yogurt, okay, like normally what they do, ये मसाले के साथ even yogurt डाल देते हैं, mix कर देते हैं. So we're going to be doing something like that, okay. So what I'm going to be actually doing is I'm going to be adding the curd inside my chilies. So you know it gives nice moisture. Along with that, I also have tamarind pulp, okay, which I've made here. Very simple. You can buy tamarind pulp, or what you can actually do is take the tamarind. Where's my tamarind here? It must be somewhere here. Yeah. So this tamarind which I have here, you know, our traditional tamarind. Usko you put them in hot water for about an hour or so. After that, squeeze it out and then pass it through a strainer, and you get this lovely tamarind pulp. And sometimes what I like to do, my chefs actually, we make a tamarind pulp and we keep it in the fridge, especially when we are doing a lot of Asian food or a lot of food from South India. So beautiful. So you can see as the jeera and the coriander seeds start getting a little brown, okay, you get this amazing fragrance, you know. Now remember, when you put methi is not, you don't add too much fenugreek seeds, so literally like, I would say 3 grams is more than enough, okay. Beautiful. So ye bhi ho gaya abhi, and we're going to drop it in here. Lovely. So most of our spices are already toasted. I'm going to switch this off right now and focus on our masala right now. Now along with this, as I had mentioned to you, I'm adding about 20 to 30 grams of plain yogurt. Okay, dahi dal diya hai humne. And along with that, I would say about 6 to 7 cloves of garlic. Okay, and then ginger. I peeled the ginger. I'm just slicing it up. And I've got about 20 grams of ginger as well. Okay, almost the same quantity as I would say. Then about 1 teaspoon of jaggery powder, okay? Yeah, about 1.5 teaspoon of jaggery powder is here, should be good. And then tamarind. Now tamarind, they say ek chota gola, one small ball. So I would say if you take the tamarind, I would say about 30 to 40 grams of the tamarind, usko aap pani mein daloge, hot water, let it soak, take it out. So I would say about 1 large tablespoon of tamarind pulp, okay. So with this I'm going to be adding a little bit of salt, add into this, and along with this I'm just going to be adding just a little bit of water. Along with this, I mean, I think I forgot, but I would say about 1 teaspoon of haldi powder, okay, and just a little bit of red chili powder, okay. So the other red chili powder which I'm using is the byagdi chili powder. So there's a whole combination of Guntur and byagdi, but it's optional, okay. So just to give you that how much masala how much ghee roast masala we've got here, okay. So which is great. We've got almost 300, sorry. Let me give you the right figure. Now obviously the water gives it a more volume into it. So I've got exactly about 350 grams of the ghee roast masala, okay, which we have right here. Take a look. Now sometimes what it is also clever to do is that you can actually make a little extra of this, okay, and easily put it in an airtight container in your freezer. and it can last for up to 6 months. You can put it in a Ziploc bag. You can keep it inside here. If you add a little more tamarind or some acid into it, you can even preserve it longer. So a lot of the ghee roast masalas which are available do have, sometimes they have citric acid, sometimes they have vinegar, because they are all used as preservatives. Now, this is where we want to start our first process. So basically, there are two parts to this recipe. That's how I cook it. So our duck is beautifully brined. So now, what we're going to do here is I'm going to be adding about 250 grams of ghee here. Okay. Normally what do? You marinate your protein, uske baad they fry it literally in ghee, then they take it out, and then in there they grind the masalas, and then they put the protein back again. Okay, so what I'm doing here is slightly different, because I want to create a duck flavored ghee first for the ghee roast, right? So it's going to happen in tandem. It's not going to take too much time, but try to have a different approach in your cooking every time. Okay, so I'm going to be adding 1 spoon of this masala. I would say about 30 grams, 40 grams, and literally I'm going to be beautiful. So literally we are going to smearing this. We are smearing this with this, okay? And you will see this ultimate that it gets so lovely, it gets so, and we can literally even fry this if you wish, okay? Great, so let the games begin. So I'm going to be putting my duck in this, and then just a little variation, guys. This is very different from the way you guys will be cooking. There's nothing wrong the way how you cook, but this is my way how I would like to show you how to cook. So this is a very different approach. It's a very literally following almost like a French style of. Okay, so beautiful. So this got curry leaves. The rest are going to be, we're going to put it in the end anyway. So now, so you can understand what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create a whole depth of flavors, right from right here over to into the masala. So this is literally going to be very slow cooking. Let me just adjust the flame. As you can see here, that the ghee is starting to heat up. It's beginning to kind of clarify. We've got our lovely masalas here. We've got the curry patta. So ultimately, this thing, what is happening here now, one, we are slow cooking the duck. And then what we are actually doing is that we are creating a duck flavored ghee roast ghee. Okay, exactly like this. Take a look. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to let it simmer. Okay, we're just going to put this like this. Okay, and literally I'm going to cover it, so this has become like almost like a stovetop oven. If you want, we could even cook it in the oven. If you want, you can even boil it. Well, the end of the day, you have to get as creative as you like. And actually, cooking all depends upon what you have at home, who are you cooking for. I believe in that completely. So I'm going to be covering this beautifully, okay, and let my duck nicely cook here. Now, it's not completely going to be cooking here. It's going to render all its fats over here. Once it's rendering all its fat, and when you see this is going to get a beautiful color, I'm going to be adding this into my urli to cook the masalas later. Well, another 50 grams of ghee. Okay, but it's a ghee roast, guys. You know what I mean? So we've got some ghee here. Okay, we've got ample of masalas in here. But you know what? I'm giving my little touch into this. So I'm going to be adding a couple of elaichi seeds. Okay. My touch this is, and I'm going to be adding a little bit of cinnamon as well. Why not? Okay. Nice. So once this is in, we've got all our beautiful. And now we're going to be cooking this really nicely. The spices start cooking, the chilies start giving out the real flavor to this. Great. So I'm cooking this in this lovely urli which I actually got from Kerala. Okay. Now I was trying to tell you, for me, I love going shopping for not clothes and all. Of course, I like my clothes. But I'm talking about shopping for pots and pans. Everything around here, all these pots and pans in my kitchen have a story. Okay. I bought this in Delhi. I bought this in Amritsar. I bought that in Canada. I stole it from somewhere. So, everything has got a really nice, brilliant history to it. Now, you can see here, okay, now, the flavor is completely phenomenal in this, okay. So, we are going to be literally cooking this off, okay. And as this is cooking, now, what they say is that you have to start adding the ghee little by little, okay. Thode se. So now here I've got my duck leg which has been cooking very slowly cooking in this lovely ghee roast ghee. And now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be dropping this in here, okay. So let's have a look at this. It's been about 30 minutes I think. Wow, now check this out guys, check it out. Beautiful. So nice, lovely. To this, I'm going to be adding a little bit of water, not too much. Beautiful. So you can see that literally the other way I would love to do it sometimes is really cook this, put all this inside into this lovely roasting tray and cook it really slowly at about almost 100-120 degrees for 5 to 6 hours. But we will be doing it that. But normally I would cook at this. Now you can see that the spices are getting cooked, okay, beautiful. I'm going to be adding a little bit of, so I'm going to be adding a little bit of salt. Amazing. So next we're going to be adding the duck legs in here. Fantastic, look at that. Nice. And then will be our next installment of ghee, which is going to come from here. So we're just going to give this a little mix. Now you can see that there is this amazing flavor. Okay, I'm just going to stir this a little bit. Wow, this is just absolutely divine, guys. It's absolutely divine. So I'm going to be that is my last, and look at that beautiful ghee. Okay, it's got a really nice duck flavor to it, which is taking it to another next level. Okay, mind blowing. Now look at that. Now this is what I call a ghee roast. Okay, we're going to be garnishing it with curry leaves, some chopped cashew nuts. You want to add some coriander, you can, but I don't really use coriander. Now look, it is almost like bubbling in ghee. Now look at that. Now that's called a ghee roast. That is a ghee roast. We're just going to flip this over so the skin starts frying a little bit. Eventually it's going to get a little crisp. We hope so too. And look at the color. Look at this beautiful color. Just fabulous. So I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit, and then we're going to, beautiful. Nice, the duck is beautifully cooked. I'm going to be adding a little bit of more curry leaves here. I'm going to be adding a few cashew nuts here as well. Beautiful. So literally the cashew nuts are going to fry in this duck fat and this ghee marinade. And I think for sure what we're going to need is lemon. Okay, we have tamarind, but what the lime and the freshness of lime does is, so I would say about juice of half a lemon. Okay, assuming that. Fantastic. Oh yes. I think now it's time to switch this off. Okay, in a couple of minutes, and let's plate it up. Lovely. So it's time to do a little bit of plating up. Okay, beautiful. Look at these nice duck legs. Beautiful. With these lovely fried cashews, some lovely duck roast masala. Wow. Duck ghee roast ready. Thanks, in fact, a very big thanks to the Shetty family who's given the world a complete iconic dish. If any other dishes which you like to learn, you want me to cook, you can always write to me. More than happy to cook for you. So make sure you like it, you ring the bell, you subscribe, and definitely cook this in a different way. It is a ghee roast. It's damn tasty, but it's cooked in my way and it's with duck. Enjoy.